Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Jay Sammy here with another video. Today's video, I want to talk about something that I'm pretty pumped up about right now, and that is the power of goal setting. Obviously, we all have, if you're watching this video, you've probably made some New Year's resolutions in the past, and chances are you probably didn't complete it. You didn't accomplish your goals that you set out to do. So this video, I wanted to talk about two tools that I've discovered recently in the last couple of weeks here that I think can be a game changer for getting your goals done in this next new year. So if you want to learn about those two tools, stick around, watch the video. Here we go. So last week, I finished a book. I read it in 3 days or 2 days, and it's called The 12-Week Year. And this book blew my mind out.
Mind blown.
At the moment when I was reading it, I was thinking, hey, this might be the single best self-development book that I've ever read. Not because of the profound content that it has, not because it has a lot of great ideas. It's a very, very simple idea, but how this book separates itself from other books that I've read that were really, really good, like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Psycho-Cybernetics by, I can't remember the guys, but I've read a lot of good books. But the problem is I was never able to fully implement the things that I've learned. So I have all of this knowledge, all of this potential energy inside of my brain that I was not able to execute on. So I'll give you an example. I read Think and Grow Rich a while ago, and then I reread it, and I said, wow, this is a great book. I'm gonna do what it says, and I'm gonna become rich. But then what happens is time goes by and you push it forward and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna do that tomorrow, or I have more important things to do, so I won't write my mission statement, I won't read it every day, and I won't change my actions. So now we're left with a bunch of goals. We got excited, right? And the end of the year, and you're like, hey, I read that book, I had some good ideas, but I didn't do anything with it. So that's why I got really excited when I read this book. Now you can argue that I'm doing the same thing all over again, but I think this one will be different. And the reason is this book doesn't give you motivational ideas. It gives you a practical strategy for accomplishing the tasks that you set out to do. And the whole idea why this dude wrote this book, I think his name is Brian Moran, and he wrote this book because he discovered, or I guess he didn't discover it, but he became aware that people don't lack ideas. What they lack is the ability to implement the ideas that they already have. And if they were able to start implementing the good ideas that they have, even if the ideas are not great, they can improve on it. So you start doing things that gets you closer to your goal, and then you adjust them regularly. You keep readjusting. He wrote this book, and it's focused around getting things done, right? And what he did is he said, instead of doing a yearly plan where you have 365 days to procrastinate on those tasks, he said, let's condense it. Okay, so what you do is you start with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey. So what is the general but also specific vision that you have for your life? So look 10 years out. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to have, right? And you might not know where this is going to go. You might not know how you're going to get there, and that's okay. But create a vision for your life. Then you create a more short-term vision. So 3 years down the line, something that's reasonably achievable. So if your long-term goal is to be a billionaire, let's say, what's your 3 to 5 year goal? Maybe that's not a billionaire. Maybe that's unachievable, but there are some realistic goals that you can set for 3 to 5 years. And let's focus on that to start, right? Then instead of doing a yearly goal, what you do is you break it down and say, what is it that I can do in these next 12 weeks, where the name of the book comes into play. It's the 12-week year. So you build out your goals based on the next 12 weeks that you have. So how much can you get done in that 12 weeks? What's realistic? So you make a list of all of the priorities that you have, all of the things that you have to do, right? And you say, what are the 3 most important things that can help me achieve this 3 to 5 year goal? And now you prioritize that. So you discard everything else. Now this is really hard to do. So you discard everything else and you prioritize those 3 things. So now for the rest of the 12 weeks, that's all you're going to be focused on. That creates a lot of urgency. So in the past, when I set goals, I would make it so that I have so many goals. I want to do fitness. I want to build a business. I want to become a confident public speaker. There were so many things on my to-do list that when December or January 1st came, I would think about all that I have to do, and I would get distracted. I would get overwhelmed. There's so many things to do that nothing gets done, and I would procrastinate. I would put it out. I would say, I didn't get anything done this week, but let's do it next week. And then that same thing happens next week, and now I'm in the 3rd month of the year, and I said, well, I didn't get much done in these 3 months, but I'm gonna fix it starting next month. I'm always pushing it to the future. The future is always suffering because I'm delaying and procrastinating in the present. And because the year is so long, it gives our brain, it takes away that urgency in our brain that it needs to get done right now. So what I like about the 12-week year is that it shrinks that. It says you have 12 weeks, very limited time, and you need to get these 3 things done.
Get it done.
There's a few more benefits to doing this, because it really helps you to prioritize, to focus on what's the most important thing. Instead of getting distracted with learning how to public speak, learning bench pressing 300 pounds and doing all these crazy things, going to jiu-jitsu 5 times a week, all these crazy things that I want to do. It says, no, you cannot do all of those things. You need to focus on 1 to 3 main priorities, list all of the tasks, and start checking that out. You have a long list of the goals that you're going to be doing, and you want to plan it out. So week 1, this is what's getting done. Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now you know that if you miss one day, that means the next day you have to work so much harder to catch up. Everything is based on the task that you get done on that day. It becomes a daily priority. And the beautiful thing about this is that it has the potential to retrain your mind. Why? Because you define what your success is. You define what outcome you want at the end of the year, right? So if I say these are my goals, if I accomplish them in 12 weeks, then I am successful, basically. So you become very realistic, and you start building competence. You start building trust in yourself again, because my whole life I've set goals, and most of the goals I didn't hit within the time frame that I set on myself. So it's almost like subconsciously myself doesn't trust me. It doesn't trust that I'll do what I say I'm going to do. So if we can use the 12-week year to set realistic short-term targets, and we hit those targets, that'll give us more confidence in ourselves to do what we say we're going to do. So the next time I make a goal, I'll say, hey, I already achieved this, so I am an achiever. I'm going to be able to do it again. And then I'll make bigger and bigger goals. And I think there's something beautiful about that, because we're building trust in ourselves again. We're able to regain that trust, to build up that trust bank account with ourselves. Another benefit for this 12-week year is, while it helps you focus your energies on very specific goals and targets, it also gives you the ability to commit And it makes it much easier to commit to goals, to tasks when you have a shorter period. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to become a runner, right? Let's say I want to run every single day. If I set a goal, a 12-year goal, that's such a daunting task. Every single day I have to wake up and run. If I do 12 weeks, right, it makes it much more bearable, because now I can tell myself, I just need to commit to this for 12 weeks. And if I realize along the way that I'm not a runner, then as long as I stick with it, I can decide to discard it in the next year. You know, the next 12 weeks, I can say I'm no longer going to run. But at least I've banked some success, because it's a short-term commitment. It's very realistic. I can get it done. And a side story is I did the same thing when I was doing jiu-jitsu. When I joined jiu-jitsu, I made a short-term goal that I was going to get a blue belt. I said, I don't need to commit to jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life and become a black belt and train every day. All I need to do is get a blue belt. And then if I don't like it after that, then I can quit. Once I made it to the blue belt, then I ended up liking it a lot, and I stuck with it. That's something that's helped me out a lot. So the 12-year week it's packed full of practical advice that we can use to unlock the keys to our potential. And I'm just very excited about this lesson that I learned, and I'm very grateful, very, very thankful for reading that book right before the new year, so I can harness all that energies. Like, it goes into so much more detail. When I was reading that book for the first half of the book, I was highlighting every single thing. It had so many important points in it, so many tips and tricks that I highly recommend it. And the second tool that I wanted to talk about, the second tool that I mentioned that I'm very excited about, is a Notion template that I came across a week before I read the book. Okay, I came across this Notion template because I wanted to become more organized. I wanted to be able to plan my days better and just keep my life a bit more organized. I came across this template from Productive Setups, a guy on YouTube. And I purchased his premium template. It's called Headquarters. And what a blessing I think this template is going to be in my life. Because all of the tools the strategies that the 12-week year gave me, the template will help me to implement it, if that makes sense. It's almost like the dude that built this Headquarters template, he used the 12-week year in mind to make this. It is well worth it. I think I paid $50, and it is a great template. Maybe I'm going to make a quick walkthrough, or I'll include it at the end of this video, but I'll show basically how it works, how you're able to set your priorities, your top 3 targets, and create tasks within those priorities, or projects is what he calls them. And you can track on a weekly basis the tasks that you complete and measure everything. Basically, he's using the principles from David Allen's Getting Things Done and the 12-week year and a bunch of other productivity books that he's just harnessed into this very, very sophisticated yet simple Notion template that I'm hoping that I'm gonna utilize it, and make some changes in my life for this next year. We're gonna see how that goes. Wish me good luck. If you want to follow along on this journey, click the like button, click the subscribe button, be kind in the comments. We're all growing, we're all learning, and wishing you a happy new year. If you're watching this video late into the new year, remember that you can restart your year at any point and get some momentum going. Peace.